What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Noodle Time. This is episode 151. I am your host, Mark Segovia, alongside two of the greatest Dynamo fans you'll ever meet, OSG and Andres. What's going on, OSG?
What up, man? What up, man? Good to see you. Good to talk to you. Ready to get it on.
Love the jersey, man.
Hey, wins. Yeah.
What's going on, Andres?
Hey man, pretty good. There's definitely a lot to talk about in this episode, but I'm the only thing I'm happy about is getting to talk Dynamo with both you guys as always.
For sure. Show off the shirt, man. Show off the shirt.
Hey man, they got a good old classic Hispanic Heritage Month shirt from a couple years ago. I love it. Everyone loves it.
Yeah, all the colors, all the different oranges and stuff like that. It's all good. Yeah, man. I mean, for the last couple of years, especially, with different, shirts, animations, things of that sort with the Surge or with the Dynamo or with other people, there's a lot of good stuff coming and all that good stuff coming up, a lot of good merch around. So guys, obviously, support wherever it's coming from. Obviously we love to support all the groups and all the fans and all the local podcasts and, local fellow peers of ours as well. So, if anything drops, guys, obviously support as much as you can. But with that being said, guys, unfortunately, we're supporting a loser, guys. at this current moment, it's calamity and it's I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. I'm a loss for words, and the League Cup is over for us. Obviously, the only MLS side not to collect a point. The worst team in League's Cup as well. I know some people will say, "Well, Atlas, this is that," but I mean, Atlas played on the road. We played at home. Realistically, we were the Dynamo were in none of the games. I know the Pachuca game, with the Bassi penalty and this and that, but you saw how quick Pachuca was quick to answer that. The Tigre game was an embarrassment. The Mazatlán supposedly rotation game was an embarrassment as well. So I mean, I don't have too much to say about the League Cup as far as, just the disappointment, because obviously these tournaments, especially with what's on the line in this tournament, I know some people are kind of like, whatever, it's a money grab tournament, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But this tournament at the end, regardless of what it is or what you think it is, the prizes are noteworthy. The top three spots automatically get a CONCACAF Champions Cup qualification. The winner gets a qualification through to the round of 16. I think the prize money was raised up this year as well, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously silverware. I mean, dude. I mean, I for as long as I've been talking Dynamo, whether it's with you guys or my prior shows or wherever else you've seen me or whoever I've talked with, I've always said, hey man, filling up the trophy case is not a bad ordeal. It's a good thing, regardless if we're having a good season, a bad season, a horrible season. If at the end of the day you're able to put a trophy in there somewhere, it's something you can look at, something that you can, bounce off of and be positive and have a positive outlook on. But that's not the case, right? Is there anything that you guys want to talk about as far as the League's Cup goes? As far as anything that you saw, maybe somebody, that doesn't get that much particular time impressed you, or, I don't know how much positivity you can get out of it, but is there anything that you want to talk about it as far as Dynamo goes, or anybody, or as just the League's Cup tournament by itself?
Mark, regardless of it being a cash grab or not, it's still 3 games against relative competition, against relative teams, especially for a team in a situation that they're in this season, sucking butthole, literally, like we suck. We could use these games to improve. Did we improve? No, we got worse. Cash grab or not, the games were competitive. They were at home. We basically you lost all 3 games at home. You suck. It was I'm mind blown right now. We didn't improve nothing. We didn't learn nothing from these games. We didn't figure anything out. Ben's, every press conference, we're still trying to figure it out. Now I'm gonna put my best lineup out against Pachuca. He puts it out, whatever. You are competitive, whatever. You still make the same stupid mistakes. You still don't give up. No, you still don't score. The only guy that scores is a guy you've been hiding in the basement for 8 months. I don't even know how long he's been here now. I feel like I forget the guy. I'm lucky to even see him on the friggin' field. He comes in for 27 minutes and he has hustle. He creates a penalty kick, almost creates a second penalty kick. Toyoso. Great job. I'd like to see more of him. Can't judge him, can't grade him when you don't see him. Ben sees him at practice and judges him and says you can't use him. Maybe he talks shit about Ben. Maybe he said Ben was short or whatever. And now the dude don't get to play because Ben can get a bit personal or whatever. But bro, I wish we could have done a lot more with Leagues Cup. There should have been whatever he did the rotation that one game. Brought Sebastian Rodriguez up in the last game. Meaningless at all, but still didn't use him. What'd you bring him up for? Fill the roster up. That was pointless, bro. Come on, man. What?
Sure.
I'm happy the kid got he's in the locker. He's taking pictures. He gets to enjoy the moment. He's with the first team. He's on the field and everything. Hallelujah. Put the kid in, bro. Like, what do we got to lose? You nothing. You brought him up. Use him. I'm so annoyed. I'm so frustrated. We're going to Austin now. Bring him back MLS. I digress right now. Pause.
Yeah. Before I get to you, Andres, obviously the Pachuca game meant nothing to the Dynamo as far as anything as far as qualifications or anything. Just basically a game where we can hopefully maybe get some momentum going, but obviously that was not the case in that standpoint. So like I do understand the outlook as far as like putting in a Sebastian Rodriguez. You called the kid up, give him an opportunity. Why is Jonathan Bonner on goal? Maybe give Blake Gillingham a shot, whatever, or Pedro Cruz another shot.
Yep.
Toyo. I mean, the same thing, like you said. We have the guys come in. We paid a transfer fee for the guy, and we never see him. And obviously he came in, and he obviously produced, and got the penalty call for the Dynamo against Pachuca. Andres, just your overall thoughts on the League Cup, and obviously with the Dynamo, and if there's anything else that you want to talk about as far as that goes.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with a counterpoint. Going back to the initial point that the Dynamo didn't really appear in the games, because if you guys watch the 3 games in Leagues Cup, you could tell right away that the team in some instances were in the game, especially early on. You could tell that they were, and I had to see with my own 2 eyes, because the team looked like they were going to score the first goal, which is like, okay, cool. And we see the lineups, we see the changes, the adjustments being made for like after the Tigres game, which is good. We want to change right here and there, which is great to see. But every single time you watch this team in 2025, you kind of know what's going to happen, because we have control of the game. We have good attacking opportunities to start the game. We don't capitalize on those, and we let the team do their way. And honestly, the fact of the matter is that now it's not just a matter of the team having the worst home record in club history in all competitions, but the fact of the matter now is a matter of mentality. It's a matter of the decisions that come behind the technical staff, and the belief of the players, and not just the players, but also you could say the front office, because we're coming out of Leagues Cup with 3 significant losses. You could say anything you want about Leagues Cup. I think it's a dumb tournament, but it's still gonna be a game against some good opponents. And like you guys said initially, this is a good testing ground to try out new things, especially at the halfway point of the season, where we want to see this team do something new, that we can see us as fans see that the team is just trying to do something else differently to build upon the end of the season at 10 games ahead. They did not take advantage of that opportunity. We did see some some new faces, which is great. But in the last game against Pachuca, a game that did not matter at all, obviously we saw Sebastian Rodriguez on bench. We saw, like you said, Blake Gillingham not getting that opportunity, and it still felt the same. It still felt like the same Dynamo we've been seeing in 2025. A team that could luckily pull out a result at the right opportunity, but at home they have been absolutely mediocre, and the team has lost everything they built out for the past 2 years, which is extremely disappointing because this team had a good thing going for them. Granted, we did lose a lot of the key pieces that we had at the start of the year, but I don't believe it's an excuse any longer because I have belief in Pat Onstad, I have belief in Asher, and I have belief in Ben Olsen for everything they have done for us so far. And I gave them a lot of slack because of the transfers that were made before the season started, and really believing in all these players to see what it could happen. And granted, Shevchenko has been missing for a good chunk of that, but man, you look at these players and you look at the way they play, they're embarrassing, man. They're embarrassing. This is supposed to be the club's 20th season in Houston. It's supposed to be a moment of celebration to just like honor the past and look up towards the future. And we had a good thing going heading into this year, obviously coming out of some great 2 years. And they just absolutely botched everything. They destroyed our confidence as fans, and nobody in the league takes us seriously anymore. So it's really, I'm extremely angry right now because
Yeah.
I've been watching that. Like what she said, I'm also like shocked at the fact that we just come out of the Leagues Cup with nothing, and we're about to play 10 games. And I kind of said it's gonna be like the longest 3 months in Dynamo history because I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how the team is gonna win
The
games.
best part is 6 of those are on the road.
I guess we do better on the road now, but still, like we don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like disappointment is something that just like, man, you feel it more than something than, like I said, being upset or being mad at somebody. Like if I were to tell somebody who I really cared about, like, yo, I'm disappointed in you, I think that's I think that's a sharper edged sword than, hey, I'm mad at you or I'm upset at you. And the disappointment that I have in this club right now, it's great. It's not a great feeling, man. And I don't want to feel this way. I mean, I think, like I said, do we lack in a lot of places? Yes, obviously. Like I said, I mean, I've mentioned it shows prior, when you let a certain amount of talent go and you don't replace it with equal or higher talent, it's a bad formula. It's a bad combination for things, right? But obviously you think you have professionals, you're gonna have new blood come in, and you're hoping that they're gonna create a spark and they're gonna create some kind of chemistry to the point where they can represent us well on the pitch. And we've seen glimpses of that. The thing is, like, we've seen glimpses. We've seen little runs throughout the season and things like that. It's just like, for some reason, it's not sticking. And when something like that happens, the first thing you look at is, well, are they not listening to the voice that's giving them the instructions? Do they not care to hear that voice anymore? Do they not respect that voice anymore? You know,
Boom.
it's one of those things where, to a certain point, obviously, when you get hired as a coach, one day you're gonna get fired. You know, any coach, any league, once you get hired as a coach, you're getting fired one day. You know, very, very, very few people are retire or are let go or are allowed to walk away into the sunset. You know, but those are usually held for the greats of the greats. But yeah, man, it's frustrating. Obviously, this League Cup will continue without the Dynamo. Obviously, we have this Saturday coming up against Austin. I guess the good part about that is that it's not at home for you know, and that's crazy, and that's crazy to say, right? Um, you know, I don't even know what to expect there. You know, it's like it's one of those things where Shell does not feel like the home like it used to be. You know, you think you take advantage of the fact like Andres says. Andres obviously he doesn't care too much for the League Cup. You know, and that's fine. Like I said, you know, it probably is a cash grab tournament, whatever, blah blah blah, and this and that. But the thing is, you get to play teams that you don't normally play, right? And two of the three teams that were assigned to you are major teams in this region. You know, Tigres is a perennial Liga MX champion, plays in the Club World Cup, you know, things of that nature. Pachuca, the same thing with those guys. You know, they just came off of a nice little run in the Club World Cup themselves, you know, and you know, not going in. Obviously, I didn't think the Dynamo were going to fare well, but I mean, I at least thought that they would show some pride, you know, and no, man. I mean, it's disappointing, man, just to see how many levels behind we are of the really true big clubs of this region. Not just counting MLS, just you know, CONCACAF, you know, per se. Anything else before we?
Christian hits it on the head. I mean, there's no respect with Ben. Nobody
Yeah.
respects Ben right now. Even the fan base don't respect Ben right now. You can't tell if the locker room respects Ben. The media doesn't respect Ben. They do respect Ben where they try to talk to him, but you can tell he doesn't respect them back. It just feels like he's done. You know, ID, what is it? The acronym for I don't give a fuck. So I'll just say it out loud. You know, Ben is just done, bro. Like he's done, and like you said, he had 10 years in DC. He had however many years playing as a player in DC. So maybe he's not used to this, and maybe he feels safe. But bro, change. We
Well,
have to change. All right, bro. We did MJ and Brenner for fucking 9.5 years. We get Pat. Pat comes in. Ted. We get Ted. Brings Pat in. Changes everything. We do great. Brings in Ben. Whatever. Cool. That wasn't our best choice, but we you know what? He came in 2 years of playoffs, won the Open Cup, got us to the Western Conference Finals. Second year, bummed out against Seattle. But what? So he did his friggin' job. Did us happy. Here we are doing worse than what we were before, and putting the fans right back into the trauma that we don't want to be in, and it causes PSTD. And you know what? People are going to call for heads, and right now they're calling for Ben's head, they're calling for Pat's head, they're even calling for Astor's head, and it's well deserving. We're not doing nothing. Ben, you suck. You don't change nothing. You don't do nothing. Granted, you played a couple more players in Leagues Cup. Now we're going back to MLS. I bet you're going to play the same 13 players you play every single game, and the subs will be so predictable, blah, 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 just like your tactics are so predictable. You don't change nothing. This is the MLS. Professionals figure out shit. But
we're working on it.
I digress. Again, I got more time.
I like to zoom in on this.
We're working on it.
Yeah, but what you call it? Yeah, guys. I mean, you know, it's a shame, you know, and obviously, you know, it's one thing to lose games. You know, obviously, as a club, you're going to lose games. You're going to have your down seasons or whatever. But the matter of how the things is going is complete crap. Like, you know, guys. Obviously, for those of you who follow me on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it this nowadays, is at Segovia. But like, you know, I mentioned in one of my tweets that, you know, the Dynamo and 10 of their last 11 games have scored 1 goal or less in 10 of their last 11 games. Where's the offense? The offense has gone missing. Like, to a certain point where it's, you know, I know people want to blame Ponce. They want to blame Linger. They want to blame this, but like, the formation isn't doing it for these players. There's no creativity. There's no ability to allow these players to play their style of game. Like I don't like I've mentioned it so many times before. I don't care about 65% possession when we have 2 shots the whole game and 1 shot on goal. Like that's not gonna work. The possession game does not matter if you're not gonna do anything with that ball in the final third. It's about shots and goals and opportunities and creativity and things of that nature. And we're not getting it. No matter who is up there. Like I said, dude. To this point, I feel I could have Cristiano Ronaldo up there in front as a number 9, and he would be goalless playing in Ben's formation. Like there's just no offense.
No,
There's
he'd be
no
benched
offense.
because he doesn't pass backwards.
There's no offense
Right.
whatsoever. The ball gets lost, and then when it's time to move up, instead of moving up and pressing forward, they go back and they try to restart again for whatever reason. I don't know why. Like I said, I guess Ben tells them, hey, that they must be getting some kind of bonus for having 60% possession each game, whatever. But they're not doing anything, man. They're not doing anything with the
The
ball.
players have admitted that's what Ben has told them to do. They're afraid to not do against Ben, or they're going to get benched. Look at Linger; he was on the bench for 2.5 games at one time.
You know what? I don't at this point. You know what? I don't care. Bench me. At this point, it's like you're going. It's in any game, any sport. It's easier to get rid of a coach than it is players.
Well, right now, at this point, yeah, bench me. I'm going to make a stand, but I better be talking about it too at the same time. I better not be sitting on the bench fucking
for
happy
sure,
or something.
for sure. Look, as a player, especially in today's times, players have outreach like no other. Before it would just stay. It would stay in the club, and that would be it. Whatever, blah blah. Nah, players can get on podcasts. Players have people they can talk to. People have ways to leak rumors. Things of that nature. Whatever, blah blah blah. It's a whole big business of it now. And at this point, if it's I can't respect the coach that just, hey, you see that nothing is going right. We're still trying to figure it out. It's not a proper solution to the problem we're having at this moment. Like at this point, like I said, I wouldn't care if he does something drastic to where it's, hey, like it's three men in the back and just everybody else is offensive. Just to see some goals, man, because there's no offense whatsoever. A lot of people want to blame Ponce because he's our DP. We paid $7 million for him. Blah blah blah. This and that. I am telling you right now, guys. If Ponce was on any other team, Ponce would be a double-digit goal scorer right now at this very moment. And it's just crazy to me how people want to jump on him, or this and that or whatever. Look, Ben Olsen is making Inali Lawrence look bad. And Inali's our guy. Inali's my guy. That's my guy. And he's making him look bad. So, I mean, it comes to a point where the formation, the tactics, whatever, it doesn't work. It's gone sour. Great. It worked during a time period, whatever, but people have figured you out. They have tape. They have stuff. And plus, you're trying to do what you did prior years with lesser talent now. So it's not going to be done the same way. We have to have an understanding where you have to change your mindset. You have to adapt with the times. And if you're not going to do that, then we need to move on from you. I asked a couple of days ago on Twitter. What really needs to happen with this club, right? And obviously there was a rumor of signing a U22 player or whatever. Obviously the choice of a new voice, new coach. Some ambition, sign a DP or others, whatever people want to say. And 46% said new voice, new coach, which a lot of us have said whatever, have been on board with that. But right behind the 45%, we want some ambition, sign a DP, guys. Like I'm tired of this hiding behind the whole, we lost Hector, we lost Coco, we lost Mikael, this and that. Bring somebody noteworthy who can run, who can actually do something in this formation that Ben for some reason does not want to let go of. You know, if whoever,
Hire the coach. Bring somebody in.
yeah, I mean, but like whatever it is, like whoever he thinks that can run his system on the pitch, bring that guy in. You know, bring that guy in because at the end of the day, if that guy's not is non-existent on our club, and I don't care how much you guys think that when Eric comes.
Same thing we've been doing right now, Mark. We brought in Ponce. That's Ben's man. That fits the system. That fits Ben's system that is not working right now. So you say bring in another DP. It's pointless right now. Are we going to keep Ben?
But
And we keep Ben and we bring in that DP? Yes, right now to Ben's perspective, and you throw the dude in there. But if we're getting rid of Ben, then no, I don't want that DP
no,
right
no,
now.
for sure,
I'm
for sure,
done
for
with
sure,
his
for
way,
sure.
and we figure it out. But what's leaning is what Ben is out. Let's get the hell Ben out. That's what we want. But hey, all right, bring a DP in. What is it going to be? We brought an 8.5 million for formation is a problem too, but it's also Ben's tactics. G, and I see you behind over there, but Ben just needs to change. Period. But man,
Yep.
Mark, I'm with you. Yes, a DP now, Christian. Yes, I'm with you. A DP now, but it has to be suitable to the situation now. We brought in Ponce for Ben. Now we might be getting rid of Ben. Do we bring in another DP if we keep Ben? Yeah, whatever. But man, I just hate the way we're wasting them because you had this much. You could have done something with Sebas in a different situation. Now you're with Ponce. It's just, man, it sucks,
Yeah, I
bro. And like you said,
mean,
it's so predictable and so figured out and everything. The tactics have to change, and it's not changing. And now he wants to rotate a couple players, but they're still forced to slow the ball down.
yeah, but it also goes to the fact that whatever decision they go, whatever the front office decision is. Look at this point, I firmly believe. Look, they're gonna let Ben finish out the year, right? That's the unfortunate thing. I don't feel that there's gonna be any drastic. Hey, you know what? We're gonna let him go. I think the front office, unless like I said, I was hoping that one of these Mexican clubs would just take the Dynamo and just like whoop them like 8-0 or something like that, right? I was hoping, not because I want to see my club embarrassed, but because that would wake them up, like forcefully make them have to look at the situation and be like, "Yo, this that is unacceptable. That's unacceptable."
Mark, tell him, Pat, to wake up. What is our situation right now? What is our form? What
But
reason do we have to keep Ben? You have 3 actual head coaches on the bench, and people are going to say, "Wolf, he's the third choice." You have Kenny Bundy and you have Juan Guerrero to take over for the rest of the season until you figure out what you're going to do. Bye, Ben. Bye, Ben.
The temporary answer's right there, or at least the temporary answer.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
It doesn't hurt to do it, right? It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Bye. Unless you're sticking with Ben and he gets next year confirmed already. That's the only reason. And then if that's the truth, then Pat, bye. Bye, Pat. You're a legend in my heart forever. But bye.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, like I don't know if I don't know if Ben survives to the point that he gets next season. I think that he survives the end of this season. Whatever they're gonna let him try to figure it out, I guess. But with that being said, like I said, it if you're gonna take a shot, right, and you're gonna bring in a DP type player or whatever to try to run Ben's offense or whatever he's trying to run, fine, go get that guy. Make sure he's what it is, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to die with the fact that hey, you died doing what you wanted to do, and it failed. It completely fell. It bottomed out, and it didn't work. And you were unable to change tactically, change your philosophy, and that's that, right? Cool, whatever, But at the
Question
end of
for
the
you,
day,
Mark. 10
go ahead.
games left in the season. You bring a DP in now, knowing Ben. It's going to take him 5 games to get him
Yeah, and,
in. So it's a waste.
no, I agree. Like to be honest, at this point for me, if you're not gonna change the head, if you're not gonna change the top of the at the head of the table, I don't care about a DP right now. like I said, at the end of the day, we're not in a position where, hey, somebody's going to come in and just change the atmosphere, change you're not bringing anybody in of quality like that because first and foremost, the Dynamo haven't shown to be able to go and bring somebody of that cloth into
Right.
this
There's no
environment,
belief
right?
we can.
I mean, obviously, I know the Achi thing worked out great the way it did, but the Achi thing didn't work out the first 10 games when he first came in as a summer signing because, they want to bring him along, quietly, and, he has to learn the formation and blah, blah, blah. And apparently Ben's formation is so hard to learn that, nobody gets it, it's so complex to the point where you can't even score goals. So, but regardless of what happens, I don't know. Like I said, the Dynamo have 10 games left, right? And obviously, the first game is against Austin, a derby, this Saturday over there. And I guess, it's just one of those things where I'm to the point where I'm leaning way more to the point where, like, the Dynamo, they're not going to make it happen. This group of the morale, the chemistry is just not there. I mean, it would have to take some kind of Leonidas 300 speech to get these guys out of the shithole that they're in, to motivate them to try to fight for this, fight for this club, and have pride and try to make an actual playoff run, like it's
3 points and a game in hand out of ninth place in the
but
shit that we're in.
but like I mentioned last week, it's just that same carrot that's dangling in front of us that we're never going to be able to get to. I mean, it's because of the way everything's looking right now, dude. How can I expect them to make a playoff run when they can't grab any points at home?
You can't expect them. You can't expect anything. You can't
You know,
expect anything.
how,
That's probably
how,
why we're dangling the carrot to Ben right now and holding on to him because we're 3 points from the playoff line. I think we can make the change and get some motivation in this team and maybe make the playoffs and maybe make a pretend run like SKC was. It was 2 years ago that beat San Jose to get past 8 and then make it through. There's something there, but it's obviously not there with Ben right now. We're so friggin' stagnant. I mean, don't drink water that's been sitting in the bathtub for 10 days. So Ben,
I mean, it's crazy, man. I mean, like, how do I expect this team to even think about making a playoff run when they can't even score goals? So how are you going to win games if you don't score goals?
We don't know what's going to happen in Austin, man. We don't know what to expect from this game. Like, we don't know how this team is going to be able to pull out a result. We're at the point that, as you guys said, there's the only way we can actually believe is going to happen is by actually watching it at this point, because it's going to require a miracle, an adjustment, and the team getting behind a coach. And the way things look like right now, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Shout out Sam. Shout out G. What's going on, Jeff? Guys, thank you for being active on the chat.
closing out.
Appreciate all you guys, staying locked in with us. But yeah, man, guys, I mean, dude, to crash out the way we did with the Leagues Cup, to lose against Austin and the US Open Cup and in the US Open Cup tournament, to
They're
be
still in.
Yeah, and they're still in it, right? To have this upcoming game against Austin and Austin, dude, Austin's not doing that. The Austin is doing bad too, But they at least are playing with some kind of pride. I mean, they lost their top scoring option, and Brandon Vasquez, but yet they're still
They've only scored 21 goals in 23 games this year. So that's a factor. But they have a great defense as well.
That's the thing. But they have a defense that keeps them in the game, and they win at home. So it's just, I don't know, man. This game against Austin on Saturday is gonna speak volumes as far as like where my head is gonna be at next Thursday when we come back again for this show, because obviously I'm already down in the downers, right? But like, if we can't do it against Austin, one of the lowest score. I think they are the lowest scoring team in the league, right? If I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm not wrong. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. And I know there's a lot of rumors out there about possible players being offered to other teams. We'll talk about it here in a bit. And things of that nature. But like I said, I mean, dude, the personnel as far as players going, whether they're coming in or coming out, I mean, dude, I don't know what could be done to salvage this season, right? The only thing to be honest that I feel that can be done is, hey, if people want some players, get as much money as you can and have it ready for next season. Like, to be honest, like, start thinking ahead, and if you're gonna start thinking ahead, you know what? Then let one of these young guys be interim coach. Let Bundy take over. Let Guerra take over.
Yes.
It's to me. I'm to a point where if we lose this game on Saturday, even though we have 9 games left, whatever, and we're never out until we're mathematically out, whatever, blah blah blah, whatever all the cliche sayings are. Like, I'm to the point where, like, you know what? I'm looking forward to next season. Let's get the ground running on next season. Let's do what we need to do. Christian says sack his ass. Yeah, for sure.
Don't let him back on the bus. Ben, if you need a place to stay Saturday, I got you. And you're catching the bus home, a different bus, though.
Yeah.
Leave him in Austin, please.
Yeah, so Andres, let me ask you this, buddy, because obviously before we got on the show, whatever, there was these rumors about Ponce being offered to Rayados or Monterrey and things of that nature, whether it's true or not, just fanfare or whatever the case may be. Obviously, like I said, I've been a Ponce supporter ever since I've been on this show. I've never thought of him being as him being the one of the first guys where I'm like, he's option 1, 2, or 3 of the reason why the Dynamo are failing so bad. I think he does the best he can do with what's given around him as being a striker. Because like I said, he's a single striker up front going against 4 defenders. Realistically. So, your thoughts of possibly selling Ponce? Do you think that's a good idea? Depending on what you get, and going to Rayados, where obviously Rayados are a great team. Sergio Ramos and Sergio Canales over there, those guys over there doing big things for Monterrey. And then I'll get to you afterwards, ask you the same question.
It's definitely controversial in the way that the fact of like how his tenure with the Dynamo ran, it's essentially just Sebastian Ferreira was slightly better. And I don't want to say that as a compliment because based on the price that the club had to pay for him and the output that came ever since he came over, it's unacceptable. He was expected to be the scoring option that he was going to score a goal, and granted, it's entirely not his fault because, over the years, like he was not provided that type of service that he needed or required, and you said it yourself, like it's been mostly opportunities that he just came forward, like he was by himself against an entire back line, and it's definitely difficult if you're not at the right place at the right time to put the ball in the back of the net. If the rumors are true, if he's actually going to Monterrey, I highly doubt the Dynamo are going to make a return out of him because his numbers don't back up his value, first of all, and I'm sure it's going to be because they want to open up the DP spot, which, okay, cool, I guess, but is it going to be used this year? We already talked about how that's going to be a bad idea if Ben Olsen stays. Is it going to be used for roster structure changes? Are we going to get more allocation money depending on how we do the deals for next year? Nobody knows. Are we actually going to be a player with those resources? We don't know. We still got 2 weeks left in the transfer window. There's literally nothing, no rumors whatsoever. Granted, Pat Onstad keeps his secrets very well kept, but we have no confidence right now. So it's just a matter of seeing what happens. And And yeah, like
Look,
it's
look.
gonna happen.
Obviously the Ponce rumor is not true, right? We were just playing with the game. Like, if the Dynamo had the option to sell, would you sell? You're 8.5. Am I getting 8.5 back for him, Mark? I don't
No.
think so, right? You're not
I
getting 8.5,
doubt it.
nowhere near. So
No.
you're throwing money out the window right now. You're opening up the DP spot, like you said. You might get 3 million back, 3.5 million back is what I think. He didn't do nothing here, so maybe somebody else likes him for what he could do, and he fits their system, a two-striker system or two-forward system, and maybe they do pay 5 or 6, and maybe you get close back to your money. It's crazy. And right, just like G says, and everybody else is saying, if you sell him now, you're cutting Ben's head off immediately. So you might as well just fire the dude at the same time as well. So, man, would I be surprised? No, because the way soccer works, you as a player can still work your own situation. So he can still go out and invest as a team to pursue him and put an offer in, or see if the Dynamo are interested in selling Ponce at the same time. So this could be either way. Either the Dynamo set this off, or Ponce set this off himself, or it's just straight up BS. The dude on Twitter, where it all came from, that, or who knows where he got it from, has followers, but is he legit? Does he know what he got it? He throw that out of his ass, because also later on the day, Riados comes out, says they're looking for somebody good. They could be looking for the Griezmann. So they're not looking for Ponce, if that's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, if Ponce were to get sold during this window, it's basically the club saying, you know what, this situation didn't work, and we're basically done. And then just whatever happens from here on out is that's we're gonna deal with that. Does that mean that obviously Ben's time as the Dynamo says coach is done as well? I could see it happening. But I could also see it, being that, hey, well, look, we're getting rid of this guy because we're gonna get X amount of money back from him, and blah blah blah. We can reinvest for next year and all that stuff, whatever. The funny thing is, I just don't. A part of me wants to go after the front office, you know, and obviously, like I know Ben is at the front of the line as far as everything, right? As far as all the negativity towards the Dynamo right now and all this stuff, and it doesn't help the way he responds to certain questions in this press and in the post game conferences. The way he acts doesn't help either, right? But I mean, a part of me as well is just like, man, like, dude, like, as a front office, how could you allow this to happen? With such a momentum that we were having as a club, the Ted Siegel era has been nothing but a bliss, prior to the season, right? And going into the 20th anniversary of this club, we're like, man, we were where we wanted to be, because obviously the Brenner era was such a debacle and such a devastating hit to the morale of the club and the city and all that stuff. It was crazy, right? So the fact that they were able to get out of that hole as quickly as they did was just basically, they were able to grab all my trust back, along with Pat Onstad, who him and himself is a club legend already, So I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I just feel like they were caught so off guard, and I don't know how a front office can be caught so off guard. Like, yeah, I understand that Mikhail was sold a couple of days before the opening of the season, right? But you
That's
had
the only
had
one.
to, but you had to known that he was a commodity. You had to had known that there was clubs circling around him. The Coco thing has been going on and off for a year and a half prior to him actually going to Pumas. And the thing is, we know. Look at Coco playing, how he's playing for Pumas right now. Look at how Coco plays for Panama. We never got that. We never got that side of Coco because because we played him out of position because obviously we had other players in positions, this and that, whatever, blah blah, and that's fine. But and because he's finally being allowed to play the position he plays with Pumas, we might be able to get a really great return when Pumas hopefully eventually sells him off to a bigger club in the future, right? But that's all future things. Like, what about the right now? Like, how can I look my fan base in the face as a front office and say that we try to do the best we could to replenish this team and replace the talent that we lost? We didn't at all. Like, we dropped the ball, and when I say we, is the front office. we What's up, Sergio? Appreciate you, my guy. We dropped the ball completely, as a front office, and I made a comment. I don't know if it was in a Discord or if it was on Twitter or somebody. I was commenting on somebody's post, but dude, the whole bringing in Linger, Toyo, Pablo Ortiz, Dwayne Holmes, all that money that we spent on bringing those guys in as far as transfer fees, salaries, and stuff like that. Like, dude, I would have rather you just let me keep drunken Hector Herrera, realistically speaking. I mean, at the end of the day, my at the end of the day, my guy is sitting on the bench of Toluca winning trophies. Like like at the end of the day, I mean, it's crazy how things worked out really great for him, but it's really working out like shit for the club. But I mean, it's just
He wants to become a head coach.
Who?
Hector.
Oh man,
He can drink as much tequila as he wants if he's a head coach. Might have the locker room.
We'll see about that. But anyways, man, let me get back on track, guys, here with the thing. So I mean, obviously going back to the 10 games left coming up, guys. I mean, your thoughts on it? Like, what percentage are you for making the playoffs and not making the playoffs? Like me myself, right now, I'm 75%. 25% we can make a run. 75% we're not doing anything right now.
I mean, for me, it's more so 5% make the playoffs only because I'm biased as hell. And yeah, the other 95 is like no chance, man.
I just don't believe that we can do anything and produce anything. So why do I even have 5% of belief right now? I was believing at the beginning of the season and through the season, but the past, the Leagues Cup, the 3 games, including the Galaxy rain out, and a few games prior to that, we're at home. We just lose at home. We just lose. We give up shit games. That's when it just rumbling down.
Yeah, Kobe, what's up? Kobe says if we lose to Austin on Saturday, we are done, and that, to be honest, might be the final nail on the coffin. At the end of the day, because it's funny how you have these big derby matches or these big matches against your rival, and if your rival gets the better of you, especially when you're on a downward spiral, that can be the start of something as far as like, hey, we got to break this up. And like I said, at the end of the day. Maybe it's something, obviously I never hope for my club to lose. I want the Dynamo to win as many times as they possibly can, right? But what's them winning against Austin is this weekend if the next 9 games after that they post nothing but draws and losses, Like what did that do? What good did that do us? Nothing, right? At the end of the day, it just prolonged the inevitable, of finding a new voice for the players and doing something to bring up the morale of the club and the players as well. So I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know what happens. Sam says, I don't think we make the playoffs. The mental withdrawal is noticeable already. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, dude, you know what's sad? I saw a video of Arthur, our captain, talking, to I forgot who he was talking to, and you can see on his face like he's gonna give the PR answer to the question, right? but you can see it in his face. Like he doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Like he doesn't know why this is happening. To be honest,
I
he
didn't have
knows
the same question.
he knows, but he's not that type of guy to throw people underneath the bus. And this is our captain, and I respect it because he's our captain. He's supposed he's Captain Dynamo. So if you lose him, you're definitely losing like the rest of the players, right? So he has to be that bridge between the coaching staff and the players, where he has to be like, look, guys, I know we're not doing good right now, but if these guys over here are telling us that this is the best thing that we can do to help us overcome this deficit that we're doing, then we need to listen to these guys. That's why they're in the positions they're in for us to listen and follow. But then you have the players on the other side being like, dude, we've been listening. We're not getting the results. Like, why can't we play like this instead? So I understand that Arthur, because he's the captain, he's being pulled both ways. But I mean, just it's crazy just to see it from his facial expression. Like he seems done, and you can kind of tell on his play as well, because his play hasn't been the Arthur we've known and loved. A lot of us can say, hey, Brooklyn Reigns has been the better player this year. And that's true in my opinion. But but Arthur, obviously, he's just been whatever. What's up, Corey? What's up, Christian? Yeah, Ben has been on crack.
Mark, and credit to Archer, man. He does come out of the locker room every game into the tunnel and talk in the mix zone and does talk to the fans not to the fans, to media every single game. So he's probably getting tired and annoyed with actually having to face those questions. Other players, they get to read it on Twitter. They get to hear about it and hearsay from third parties, because some of them don't go out to the mix zone or don't get pulled in the mix zone and don't get to ask those questions. But Arthur, sorry, is out there every single game and gets questions asked. So he hears it from the fans. He knows what the fans see. And I guarantee, because there's fans out there, we know a couple of them fans, one in particular, that it waits till they leave to tell them they're doing a great job. So they do see the fans inside, outside, the media. They hear everything. They know everything. So some of them more than others, because some of them know how to avoid, but some are out there and put their face out there. So credit to Arthur for doing what he does. But you're right. Brooklyn may be doing more on the field. Artur is not the captain that we necessarily need, because he's not showing it on the field as far as his voice. He's a great player. But yeah, it's probably out of gas right now. Reigns could be doing a little bit more. But that's on Ben again. But credit to the guy. I just wanted to make sure we all knew that. Credit to
Yeah. And no way am I trying to
right.
throw shade at Arthur. I love Arthur. I love what he represents. I think he's a professional, and I think he's a really, really great player. It just it starts to drag on you when you start seeing the level of play collapse the way it's been collapsing. Corey says on the chat, is this the weekly Dynamo therapy session? Yeah, of course it is. How do you feel about the Dynamo guys? Andres, I guess before we head out on here, man, just your thoughts on Austin this weekend. What do you think the Dynamo have to do to get out of this slump? Do you want them to get out of this slump, or do you want to just your thoughts overall?
I'm always going to be a fan of this team, and I'm always going to be rooting for success. But we're in a situation that if Ben Olsen sees success, we're still going to be suffering this current ordeal for the foreseeable future. And that's something I really want to get out, especially us as Dynamo fans that have suffered through enough. And if they win, great. I'm more so happy for the players rather than the fact that Ben Olsen is going to be staying. But yeah, man, we need change more than anything. We need some sort of change of mentality. And more than anything, we need something fresh. We need to see life out of this team to have some sort of hope. Because right now, like we've already discussed it, but it's pretty much it. Like the players don't trust Ben. We don't trust Ben. does the front office trust Ben? It kind of looks like they do because he's still here. But yeah, we got 10 games, and we'll see what happens.
OSG, your
Yeah,
thoughts on this Saturday against Austin FC? What are your thoughts? What do you want to happen? What do you think will happen?
yeah, Mark. On that episode that you unfortunately missed, and I went on my rant. It was DEFCON 3, and then we had those 3 games, 3 MLS home games, and I said if we lose those, it goes to DEFCON 2. After those, that win and that draw, and then the rain out, and then the first loss in Leagues Cup, we moved down to DEFCON 2. And then we completed the tripod with the other 2 losses in Leagues Cup. And I said, if we lose those as well, we would be into DEFCON 1, and it's time to make the change. And a change needs to happen, whatever it is. Ben has to go or Pat has to go. I'm 100% that it needs to be the coaching staff needs to be a change, and we need to relieve Ben right now and let the assistant coaches finish out the season while you figure out what you can do. There's names out there: Jim Curtin, Vicente Sanchez. There's another name out there, so there's opportunities out there, and there could be talks
Giovanni
going on
Suarez,
right now.
yeah.
So you never know, but. Man, I need the bin out right now. It needs to happen. But into Austin, I do not expect much. The only thing, thanks, G Money. I right now I'm good. It's hurting a little bit, but man, in Austin, Austin doesn't score, but they don't give up goals. So that's the opportunity that the Dynamo are going to have because they're going to possess the ball so much, but they're going to give up those opportunities. Maybe you tie 1-1, lose 1-0, win 1-0. The last time we were there, I think we lost 3-0, or I don't even remember anymore.
3-1, yeah, Open Cup.
3-1, the US Open Cup.
3-1, yeah. So it's you don't know what. And man, if you lose to make up, because it would have been DEFCON 1 louder if we would have played LA Galaxy at home and lost to them, giving them their first road win of the season, period. I would have been outie. Not outie. I'm outie right now. Been outie. What up?
Hey, and the Galaxy are producing in the Leagues Cup.
We expect that. And of course, our rescheduled game is the return of what's his freaking face, Puig. So, yay.
Hey, everything in the universe is lining up for the Dynamo to do what they need to do. Well, now will they actually do it? I like the question that Sam posted on the chat. He says, sorry, it just left. Actually, my chat just left. He says, do I think Pat? Shoot, sorry guys, I should have saved it. Perhaps not Pat, but do you think Ted will hold the front office or the coach accountable after the season? The thing is, I think Ted is that type, in my opinion, I think Ted is that type of owner where he is going to hire the soccer people to run the soccer operations of the club, which is, obviously, look, I think his background is mostly like real estate or whatever, if I'm not mistaken, and things of that nature. So that's what he knows, and obviously it's his prerogative to hire the soccer people that he thinks is going to take the club to where it needs to go. And I think that Pat has done a great job, obviously, with what he's been given as far as resources from Ted. I think it's more on Pat as whether or not he's going to hold Ben and the coaching staff accountable, the scouting department, accountable. It's just a lot of accountability to throw around for the disappointment of this season because, there's a lot of things that went wrong, as far as the scouting, as far as the transfer market, as far as the players, the formation, the coaching staff.
Mark, scouting is chosen by us. We hired a scouting network that produces all the data, and we choose what perspectives for them to look for, and they return that information back to us. If we change those parameters, we're looking for different type of players. Get rid of the damn coach. Sorry to interrupt.
No, for sure. And like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, analytically speaking, with the scouting networks or whatever you decide to do for scouting, you can have three people look at it the same way. But if you don't have nobody challenging the way it looks, or that data is being presented, then then you just have a bunch of yes men around you. At the end of the day, and I don't like that. I like people of different views and point of views and different outlooks and stuff like that to give me different directions. So that way I'm making sure that I'm not missing something as far as whatever data is presented to me. At the end of the day, because at the end of the day, you know, a player can look great on paper and can fit your formation and the way he plays and the style, but for whatever reason, he comes to the Dynamo and he regresses so much as a player because for whatever reason, who knows? Coaching staff, the it could be the equipment manager, or it could be the staffing, the trainers or whatever. Who knows, right? We've seen a lot of players who've done well other places come to Houston and just shit the bed. It's something somewhere that we're not paying attention to, that for whatever reason or the other, players are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, when we bring them in. But with that being said, I mean, like I said, it's just, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But is there anything else, guys, that you want to add before we come to an end? I know we're a little bit an hour now, so before we go into the outros, OSG, anything you want to add to your?
Man, I have been probably one of the ones that outcries, but we've been hearing them. Thank y'all that have been putting your faces in front of the cameras on the concourse, at the stadium, in front of other outlets, and speaking the same word, not just in the discords, and getting your voice out there when it's something that we need to happen or want to happen. We all got to speak up. It may not be the consensus yet, but we're working towards it, and it may not be what everybody wants, but that's where we're working towards. Speaking of Austin, I'll be in Austin. Andres will be in Austin for the game, and I'm going to be in the stands with y'all. I want to hear y'all's voice. I'm going to talk to y'all. I'm going to ask y'all's perspective towards the end of the game or at the end of the game, and I want to hear what y'all have to say. What mood y'all are in at the time right there under those ugly green lights, and I want to hear from y'all before I run down and try to get to the mix zone and talk to some players and see how they friggin' feel. But I'm been out.
Andres, anything you want to add before we head out?
I mean, kind of what you just said, but we've been in this situation before. We had to deal with a really awful leadership, and the most important thing that we have right now, it's us, man. Like our voices, not just ours, but also all the fans. We have to put pressure like last time by any means necessary. We have to make sure that our opinions are heard and we speak with not just our hearts or our brains, our soccer noodles, man, because like we've been here before, we know how we feel, and we have to make sure that leadership knows how we feel about this because this is unacceptable. We expect better out of this new leadership, and it's time for a change, man. Like it's as simple as that.
Sure. I want a quick answer from you guys, real quick on this. If somehow Ben gets this team to the playoffs, do you want him? Is he coming back next year? OSG.
We already know
OSG?
how this works out. If we make the friggin' playoffs,
He's
Ben
back.
salvage his friggin' job and Pat holds his friggin' horses. Ted is holding Pat accountable, yes, but like you said, Ted is not that sports guy, and that he uses people to use his advantage to run his company per se. So
Mhm.
Pat can get away with shit. Ben can get away with it. If we make the playoffs, Ben saves his friggin' job. That's why we need to hurry up and do it now, so we don't save his friggin' ass and get into another mistake for next year. Please, Ben out. And
Andres.
hey, real quick, Mark, to back
All right.
you up earlier, you asked about the question was asked about the Ted holding the FO accountable. I do believe he is holding the FO accountable because I do believe Ted is a smart man,
Yeah.
has his people telling him, all right, no, Olsen out. Either way, Ben out, Olsen out. Either way, I'm with you, Sam. But he does have people set follows the media and he knows what's going on with the team. So he does hold Pat and Asher accountable, I believe. And so we'll see. We will see what happens. And a lot of this will be, if nothing happens in this offseason, it will be put on Ted head
So
instead of
so
Pat's head.
so I agree with what you're saying. I obviously I do believe I do think that obviously Ted is invested in has a lot invested in this club, right? Blah blah blah. But the thing what I was saying was or what I think Sam was asking is, do I think Ted is going to hold the front office accountable? I don't think so far. I don't think so much Ted at this point. I think it's more Pat holding the front office accountable as him being the head of the soccer operations, and him finding out why are we in the position we're in now. I mean, obviously Pat's the guy who's going to make the final call, and then he'll take it to Ted to see whether or not he's going to be given the resources needed to make quote unquote whatever decision they're going to make or make whatever move they're going to make. But there was there was some dropping of the ball in the front office. Whoever's responsibility it was, whether it be Pat himself or Asher or Ben or the coaching staff or whoever, the scouting network, the scouting department, or whatever, the analytics. There's some dropping of the ball somewhere around there. So I think that's where I was referring to as far as who holds who accountable for what. I think Ted believes that Pat is the guy for the job, and I think obviously Pat has shown them that he is. Obviously, this season is one season, and I don't think Ted is that drastic of a mover where he's going to be, yeah, Pat, thank you, but you're going to be gone after one season where where we just come off with two great seasons, So we'll see. Andres, same question to you. If Ben can drag this team to the playoffs, is Ben staying as the head coach for next season?
Yes, unfortunately. I hate that.
Yeah, so um
With the news as well, Ted is putting more money into Houston for the World Cup, more
oh, for
money
sure, for
into
sure.
the team. So yeah,
He's
he's
invested.
got to
He's
be like,
invested.
hey, let's make the team better. Makes me more. The value even goes better, increases when you have a better product on the field. So I know Ted's doing what he's got to do, and it is taking a little more time, and they've kind of turned their focus to the Dash a little bit and towards the youth community and not just the Dynamo anymore. We're kind of to the point where they feel like they're comfortable, but now we're getting in a situation where we're just sucking. So you got to do something again. So you got to revert and you got to come back to this floor when you're working on something else. So hey, we'll see what happens. Been out.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I want to say this before we get into the outros and stuff like that. Since we have OSG on the show, obviously OSG does a great job with Dash Dispatch, and I want to give a shout out to my girl Kiki for scoring her first professional goal with the Dash, all that great stuff. But yeah, with that being said, obviously, hopefully next Thursday we'll see where we're at as far as with what happens in Austin and how the game goes and what other rumors pop up and things of that nature, because that's the thing. Look, obviously the Ponce thing kind of happened and it's kind of, I think, maybe more fan made than anything of with anything of legs, as Glenn would say. But I mean, obviously the fact that it's so quiet in the transfer market, for us as far as trying to see if we're gonna bring in somebody to help get us to that playoff push. It speaks volumes, right? So we'll see what happens. Andres, let the people know where they can find us.
Yeah, man. At Dynamic Foxtrot on X, Instagram, and Blue Sky. We are gonna keep you guys updated as much as possible. As you guys always know, even in our worst seasons, we're still gonna be there no matter what. And also on X, Noodle Tiempo, that's gonna be a second handle that we have just to make sure that we guys have you covered on anything Dynamo Dash those related. YouTube, of course, the best way to watch all of our content and all of our live episodes of Noodle Time. And we do appreciate, as always, everybody that's tuning in to this episode, particularly Leo, Sam, Corey, G Money. We also had a little bit earlier, we had some more people. Sergio, of course, shout out to him, Christian, and everybody
Yeah.
that's been able to tune in over time. Thank you guys so much for your support. And make sure you are subscribed and liking and commenting on our videos. It helps with engagement and helps us reach out to more people, which is great. So we do appreciate that. And also, we are also available on Ghost TV, a good platform that connects other soccer culture creators like us. So if you haven't checked it out already, it's going to be goals.tv/@dynamicfoxtrot. We also have all of our links listed on our YouTube channel profile and also for our Twitter profile. And last but not least, that's Dispatch, Fox in the Box, our weekly newsletter. Make sure you guys are subscribed so you get your edition of the newsletter posted to your inbox every week. And if not, we will also have the Substack website listed on in the link for both profiles, like I mentioned. So we do appreciate you guys. And of course, we're in a bit of a turmoil right now. And we're going to do what we're going to do. Always believe in what we can do as fans. Keep the pressure up. Let your voices be heard. And man, we have to not give up in this fight. Never.
OSG, any words of wisdom before we head out?
Yeah, the words of wisdom. Check out the Dash Dispatch weekly as it comes out, and as you follow the Dash, as you see, we get to celebrate the goal that Kiki scored last week. Hopefully, she gets a score one tomorrow, Friday night at the Shell. Home game at 7 o'clock, y'all. So if you're not doing nothing, come checking it out. I'll be there. I want to see y'all. I want to talk to y'all. I want to get y'all's perspective because it takes like 45 minutes for the girls to get off the pitch. So that gives me time to get down to the tunnel afterwards. So I get to talk to y'all. Hopefully, it's going to be a win. North Carolina fired their coach, so they're bringing in a new coach. So this will be something interesting to see what's going to happen tomorrow. But we're excited. Sorry, Andres. Barb is not available tomorrow. She has not returned yet. But we're celebrating Alosia getting her Nigeria winning the WAFCON, and then Colaprico 200 games. So y'all follow, like Andrea said, Dash Dispatch newsletter, and then the Dash Dispatch podcast. Man, we're trying to follow, we're trying to do it all, and we're working on something else to give y'all a little new perspective, maybe a female perspective, but we'll see. We're working on it, man.
For sure. With that being said, guys, like always, we all appreciate the support, the love, and all the interactions on the chat and the social media outlets as well. Guys, for myself, personally, like I said, since the guys that brought me in, they've been nothing but great with me and all that good stuff, and I've enjoyed being a part of this team and obviously being part of the Dynamo community. Obviously right now we're a little bit of a downward twirl, but at the end of the day, we're all Dynamo lovers and supporters, and all we want to do is see this club be the best it can possibly be. So with that being said, regardless of if we're up or down, we're always going to be holding it down for H-Town. Go Dynamo, go Dash. Let's do it, baby.
Thanks, up.
Been real, y'all.